Hey everyone! Today I'm going to show you how to make a dress for a stuffed animal. Since this is my first dress video, I wanted to start with a really simple style, but I definitely plan to show you how to make more kinds of dresses in the future. Now let's get started! The materials you'll need are some pins, scissors, your fabric. I also ended up using some black fabric for the belt, but you can use the same fabric if you want, and your patterns, and you'll also need some Velcro. And here are the measurements I used, and this will fit a Build-A-Bear or any similarly sized stuffed animal. Now the first thing I'm going to do is cut out all my patterns, and this first one is a 30-inch long rectangle, and that was way bigger than my fabric, so I'm going to have to cut this out in two pieces and sew it together. So I'm going to pin down this half of it and then cut it out, and then I'll pin down the rest on a new piece and cut that out. And for all my pieces, I'm only going to need one, except for my straps. I'm going to cut out two of those. And like I said before, I'm going to be cutting out my belt in plain black fabric, but you can use the same fabric for everything if you want. Now I'm going to start with my longest rectangle, which I've already sewn together because it was in two pieces. And I'm just going to flip it over and fold over what's going to be the bottom edge twice like this. And I'm just going to pin this down and do it across the entire thing. After I fold it all the way to the other side, I'm just going to do a straight stitch right where I folded. After the bottom of the skirt is hemmed, I'm going to flip it over and fold over the edges of the sides twice like this, and then I'm just going to pin them in place and do this to the other side. And then I'm just going to do a straight stitch down. After that, we can move on to pleating our skirts. So I'm going to start right where I had to sew the two pieces together just because I want to hide this seam, and I'm just going to fold over the edges on a diagonal like this, and I just want the tops overlapping slightly like this, and then it should form a triangle. And then I'm going to put a pin vertically through here, because that way when we put it through the sewing machine, we can sew right over the pins and lock it in place, and then we can remove the pins afterward. So if yours was just one long piece, you can just start in the middle of your fabric and then just go out from there. But I'm just going to start from that first pleat I made and do my second one a few inches away. And I did about 7 or 8 of these, but the most important thing is after all your pleats are made, measuring along the top should equal the waistline of your stuffed animal. So mine was about 15 inches, but you'll need a little extra because of the Velcro, so I made mine about 17 inches. After all my pleats are made, I'm just going to do a straight stitch right along the top, and with the pins like this, you can sew right over them. After that, you can remove your pins, and the skirt of your dress is basically done. Now we can move on to the top, so I'm going to start by hemming the top edge, but I also want to add lace to this top part. So I'm just placing it on top of the fold and pinning it in place. And the lace is definitely optional. If you don't have any, you can leave it off and it'll still look amazing. Now I'm going to continue to pin this all the way to the other side, and then I'm going to do a straight stitch right along the top. After that, our lace is sewn on and we have a clean top edge. And now I'm going to take my belt and kind of fold down the top edge a little bit. And I'm just going to place this folded edge on the bottom edge of the piece we just sewed. And so I'm just going to pin it right along the bottom, but you could also lay them good side to good side and just sew them together like that. So now I'm just going to do a straight stitch right along where I pinned. After the belt is sewn on, now I'm going to flip it over and fold over the sides like this, and then I'm just going to pin them in place and do a straight stitch on both sides. After hemming the sides, we can now sew on our Velcro. So I'm going to put my fuzzy side on the good side of my fabric like this, and I'm going to pin it in place. But since this Velcro is so thick, I'm actually going to do a tiny straight stitch around the entire perimeter of the Velcro instead of doing a zigzag stitch. And for my other piece, I'm flipping it over and putting it on the other side. You'll want to make sure they're on opposite sides of the fabric, and then you can just sew them on. As you can see, for the Velcro on the bad side, I just used the same black thread, but for the other side, I used a white thread because it would show on the Velcro. Now we can bring in the skirt and put the two pieces together. So I'm just going to flip mine good side to good side, and as you can see, my top piece is a little shorter than my bottom, which I originally wanted this way so the skirt would overlap in the back. But looking back, I think it's fine if they're the exact same length, so feel free to do enough pleats that they're the same length, because even this way, the skirt will overlap in the back. So now I'm just going to continue pinning them together, and then I'm going to do a straight stitch right along the top. And after doing that, we can just set it aside. Now we're going to move on to the straps, so I'm going to take those thin rectangles and fold each side over each other like this until both edges are clean. And then I'm just going to do one pin, which is kind of pointless, but it'll hold it together for now. And I'm going to do a straight stitch right down the middle and then I'm going to repeat this to the other side. And after that, the straps are finished. So to sew them on, I'm first going to put the dress on my stuffed animal, and that way I'll know exactly where the straps have to go and won't need to do any guessing. So I'm just going to place the straps right over her shoulder, and then I'm just going to pin them in place. And after pinning both of them on, I'm just going to take the dress off my stuffed animal and then just go in with a needle and thread and sew it on by hand. And after your straps are attached, you are finished. So I'm going to try this on my Build-A-Bear, but I also tried this on another stuffed animal who's a similar size and it fit perfectly. So this dress is not only for Build-A-Bears. And that's it. That's how to make a dress for a stuffed animal. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more, and I'll see you next time. Bye!